ya Wakenya wote.
Jisome.
Wanawake tusonge mbele. Hata vijana wajisome.
Amjui. Na mmesikia raundi tunafaidika biashara.
Wewe na hiyo udaku yako umesikia wapi?
Hata usiongee ripoti kwa BBI.
Wacha hata sisi wa mama raundi tufaidike. Tumeteseka sana.
Jisome.
Buda, wewe BBI nini?
BBI hata sitambui.
Na constitution?
Constitution sitambui. Hiyo kitu ni ya masosa. Hao wanasiasa wataka sijui wajiongezee mavyeo, madoa wajiongezee.
Mimi na watu BBI ni bora bidii endelee.
Hiyo ni BBI yetu tupiga yetu tusaidie hapa.
Wachana na story yao wasi. Jisome.
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 We jisome.
Usitegemee unachosikia. Jisome. BBI report itatekeleza mikakati ya kuboresha maisha ya Wakenya wote.
Jisome, na kwa kweli hata mimi nitajisomea. Kwa heshima Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba uniruhusu nimwalike naibu mwenyekiti wa kamati ya utendaji ya BBI, Professor Adams Olo, aseme kwa kifupi. Professor, karibu.
Your Excellency, the President, the Deputy President, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, it's been more than 2 years since you and the Right Honorable Prime Minister unveiled the Building Bridges Initiative. And today, just like last week, that baby is born. That baby is alive and kicking. That baby's parents are okay. Your Excellency, let me just ask the task force members, steering committee, who became steering committee members, to just stand where they are so that the congregation acknowledges them. They are together with the joint secretaries there. Your Excellency, we also did work with a team of experts. Wherever they are, some of them will be presenting. Let them also just stand up so that the congregation acknowledges. Your Excellency, we also had a very youthful and vibrant secretariat that worked with us throughout. If they can also just stand up wherever they are so that the congregation can acknowledge. Your Excellency, more than 2 years ago, when the task force was put in place, through a gazette notice, we went about our task and we went to all the 47 counties. In our going to those 47 counties, we ensured that all the 290 constituencies were represented in the deliberations. As we went to those 47 counties, we also ensured that the different cleavages within the society appeared before us. This included the youth, women, persons living with disabilities, the elderly, the civil society, religious groups, and the political class. Other than going to the 47 counties, we also had what we called KICC stakeholder meetings. In those KICC stakeholder meetings, we had representatives from all the arms of government appearing before us. the executive component appeared, the judiciary component appeared, the parliament component appeared. In addition, constitutional commissions appeared. Trade unions appeared, whether COTU, NAD, the health sector. We also had civil society groups appear. We had experts appearing. And in addition to that, Your Excellency, we received written memorandums either by email or physically before our secretary. Your Excellency, when we thought we were going home in November, you again found it fit to invite us now as a steering committee to the implementation of the Building Bridges Task Force report. So we became a steering committee. And the mandate this time round was to do a validation process. That validation process undertook a route in which the task force report became a baseline for conducting that validation. And throughout again, Your Excellency, the same groups, in addition to those who had not appeared before us, came and validated the report. The validation process was multifaceted. We had, again, KICC and LICO meetings in which stakeholders came and gave their views on that November report. We had regional meetings which were preceded by stakeholder meetings or delegates of particular regions. And during the political gathering in all those regions, a memorandum was given to us arising from the delegates' presentations. That happened in all the regions, but Your Excellency will recall that we had divided Rift Valley into two. Narok had already taken place, but as we prepared for Nakuru, COVID struck. Your Excellency, I can confirm to you, and if the governors from the Rift Valley are present here, they'll confirm to you that the Nakuru meeting that did not take place, we still gave them an opportunity, and as individual governors from the Rift Valley, they brought their memorandums to us. What I'm trying to say, Your Excellency, is that this was a very participatory process. In addition to the regional meetings, we had stakeholders inviting us and asking us to send experts all over the country to go and listen to their views, which we did in town hall meetings through our experts. We also, again during this stage, Your Excellency, as is reflected in our report, received memorandums via email and physically. Your Excellency, great nations usually look in the mirror when they are at war with themselves. Your Excellency, in your wisdom and the Prime Minister, you say that this country had been at war with itself, and that this was a critical juncture that the country needed to soul search in order to once and for all weave a national fabric that will be there for generations to come. Your Excellency, our report is multifaceted. We have a constitutional section, we have a statutory legislative section, we have a policy guide section, and we have an administrative section. Your Excellency, there are those who have always said that implement. We have done that by providing those administrative actions that need to be taken. As I finalize, Your Excellency, our report has both the hardware and the software. Part of our challenge is also our attitudes and behavior as a people. If as the Archbishop of the Anglican Church said, we can build on our national ethos as a country and seek this opportunity as an avenue for a national conversation where we are talking with each other, but not at each other. Kenya shall be the better. God bless Kenya. Thank you.
Asante sana Profesa. Kwa heshima Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba unikubalie nimwalike wakili Tom Macharia na mtaalamu wa masuala ya uongozi Bwana Pandi Onyango watueleze kwa kifupi yale yaliyomo kwenye hii report. Wakili.
Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Deputy President, Your Excellency the Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen. The steering committee heard from Kenyans that no nation can prosper or thrive without a binding set of values which they called national ethos. And therefore they recommend to you, Kenyans, a philosophy which they called Utu, which is an emphasis on our common humanity in nation building rather than the common enemy identity politics that have sometimes divided us over the last 5 years. They have provided you with a set of policy doctrines and guides that you're to discuss as a basis for future policy formulation in this country. They've also included in the bill, in the proposed constitutional bill, an article on responsibilities that every Kenyan can look to cultivate national unity on the basis of respecting Kenya's ethnic, intellectual, economic, and cultural diversity. They request and recommend to you that we orient our education system to train us for value creation rather than value extraction. On the question of devolution, economic issues, our war on poverty and shared prosperity, they came up with a concept they called the No Kenyan Left Behind. And here's what they have for Kenyans. A constitutional authority for shared prosperity, which is captured in an article on the economy, which is to be implemented together with many legislative measures, and which they came up with a concept called Biashara Mashinani. One of those things they intend to do, or they recommend to you, is increase the county shareable revenue from 15%, the minimum, to 35%. They recommend the creation of a ward fund where 5% of all county revenue will be paid into. The fund will require public participation in project identification and implementation. They recommend a statute known as the Prompt Payment Bill for the payment of invoices for the supply of services and goods to government, where invoices should be paid within a period of 60 days and a tribunal to resolve any disputes as regards outstanding payments. They recommend a one-stop shop, incubation shops and centers all over the country, beginning initially with the counties and going to the wards, where everybody who has a micro-enterprise, a member of the youth, women, will be able to obtain contracts under AGPO, capital under Youth Enterprise Fund and the Women Fund, counseling in the form of information and support and prosperity for all small businesses. For the youth who leave colleges and even for those in universities, they recommend a 4-year moratorium once you leave college on higher education loans board loans. They recommend, again for the youth and for some of the older ones as well, state responsibility for infrastructure that supports the digital economy so that we can sell farm produce and cottage industries right from our villages digitally. They recommend for county that the resources be allocated on their progress in eradicating wastage and corruption and attaining Article 43 rights. These are your rights to health, your rights to housing, your rights to food security, education, and social security. The more you use money, the more money you get. They recommend that the President once a year, during the State of the Nation address, indicates to the country what steps the nation has taken to implement the rights on health, housing, food, education, and social security. The steering committee recommends the simplification of tax laws and broadening the tax base so that taxation policy encourages rather than suppresses business. They encourage closer commitment to our East African community and project and trading partners, which they see as integral to our prosperity. They recommend that among the governors, that if the governor is male, then he should or she should consider a member of the opposite sex for their running mate. They also recommend that deputy governors be given a specific portfolio so that they have a desk and work to do. In the interest of time, I move to the question of the war on corruption. They recommend that Parliament passes laws that are effective for the expeditious hearing, disposal of trial of cases involving corruption. They recommend enhanced penalty for economic crimes and corruption offenses and introduce a duty to report any knowledge or suspicion of instances or acts of corruption. They recommend an offense to be introduced on the concealment of corruption. They recommend, as regards fraudulent land acquired, that the Supreme Court should clarify the law with certainty so that Kenyans can enjoy the security of their land rights. The steering committee recommends strengthening of the office of the DPP, which is to be elevated, if the proposal is passed, to an independent office under the Constitution. The steering committee recommends to you Kenyans that the Controller of Budget strictly enforces the Public Finance Management Act to ensure that no more than 35% of a national or county government's revenue is used on salaries, benefits, and allowances. They recommend reforming of the IBC, our electoral system, to ensure credible, free, and fair elections. As to the question of gender parity, there are many recommendations, but one of the most prominent ones is full gender parity in the Senate, 47 men and 47 women. In the interest of harmony, in the interest of inclusivity, they recommend the creation of the position of the leader of the official opposition, who is to hold the government of the day accountable. They recommend that the president shall now share power with the prime minister and 2 deputy prime ministers. They recommend that the office of cabinet secretary be renamed to cabinet minister and that the president be able to appoint some of those from the National Assembly. They recommend some changes to the judiciary, including the introduction of the office of the Judiciary Ombudsman, who shall sit on the Judicial Service Commission so that Kenyans have somewhere to take their complaints if they have any. The steering committee recommends the creation of a youth commission that will champion all youth issues in the country. The steering committee recommends the creation of a health commission under statute to look into questions of health professionals and to help harmonize standards of service in the counties and in the nation. There are many, many more provisions that you should read from the report. You have had to read for yourself. And the steering committee humbly submits their report and submits, in accordance with its mandate, that you can see reflected back at you your stories, your desires, your frustrations, which they have attempted to turn into instruments of change. Thank you very much for the privilege of your attention.
Asante sana wakili, na sasa nitamwalika mtaalamu wa masuala ya uongozi Bwana Padi Onyango aendelee kutufafanulia yale yaliyomo kwenye ripoti ya BBI. Padi Onyango.
Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Deputy President, Your Excellency the Right Honorable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am representing one of the committees that worked on legislation that needs to be changed so that the recommendations of the steering committee can be implemented. There are many legislation that we looked at, but I will only mention a few in the interest of time. But firstly, I'll give preference to special legislation that needs to be given, that we have recommended should be given priority as we move on. The first one is the Persons with Disabilities Act, which has taken 11 years to try and repeal. Your Excellency, we are happy that on the 14th of August 2018, your cabinet in the third meeting adopted a resolution calling for the repeal of the 2003 Persons with Disabilities Act. Secondly, under the special category, we have the Kenya Sign Language Bill, which takes care of the deaf, that should be also fast-tracked. Under the special category, and finally, Your Excellency, on 26th of March 2015, in your State of the Nation address, you offered apologies to Kenyans for the historical injustices suffered, and you directed the Treasury to establish and to give effect to that directive. We have proposed the enactment of a legislation known as Reparative and Restorative Justice Bill, which then will be considered by Parliament. The essence of this is that all historical injustices, as covered in the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission, will be implemented within a time frame. And you know some of these injustices include the Wagala massacre, for example, extrajudicial killings. People have been assassinated over time. Now the committee has recommended that these be given priority. Facilitative of the recommendations that are contained in the constitutional proposals, which my colleague Tom has presented, I will start with the elections laws. There are many of them. One is the IBC Act. The IBC Amendment Bill seeks to reform the IBC. First, to give it strength and independence from any interference. Two, to make it possible for inclusion, for example, when the time for recruiting commissioners and officials, the persons with disability, for example, are taken into account in terms of Article 554(2) of the Constitution. In reforming the Constitution, we are all aware that there is a vacancy at the moment. We only have 3 commissioners. We should have 7, and that was the recommendation of the committee has given. In this regard, a process has been recommended where the existing commissioners will be vetted afresh, as is the table will continue in office. We are saying that there will be a panel to do that vetting and appointment. So the recommendation is that the 4 vacancies that are there should be filled in the next 6 months. That is the recommendation that has been given. On the Political Parties Act, the political parties have been obligated, when they're doing party primaries, to take care of the interests of marginalized youth, women, persons with disability. And in case of persons with disabilities, there is a recommendation that persons with disability who are may elect one of their own rather than being given someone to represent them. And then we have made a recommendation under the Political Parties Act, whether we have proposed that all disputes arising out of a nomination during the political campaign or primaries should be resolved by the party, within the party. And therefore, anybody going to the political parties dispute tribunal must show that they have exhausted internal party mechanism before they can be allowed to move the tribunal. And that applies also to petitions. On Election Offences Act, we have made stringent measures, we have recommended measures that any person causing violence be barred from taking part in succeeding elections for 5 years. And again, it has been recommended that where violence is meted against women candidates, that violence will be an aggravating factor. So, for example, if you happen to assault a woman outside the election period, then that will be common assault. But if you assault a woman within the election period, then you will be given a higher penalty or sentence than in ordinary circumstances. Yes, on election campaign financing, there is a requirement, it is recommended that candidates campaigning or seeking state office should declare the sources of their funds. The idea is to save the sovereignty of the country and to ensure that we have the right people in leadership to do the right thing. I now come to there are others, but now we'll go to the police. We are recommending that IPOA be elevated to the status of a commission, a Chapter 15 commission, for purposes of oversight and ensuring that there is discipline in the police force, so that issues of extrajudicial killings associated with the police should be a thing of the past. I have just seen Baby Pendo is here, the parents of Baby Pendo is here. That is something which should be a thing of the past in our existence. I don't want to go further. There are others my colleagues have mentioned, and I would like to leave it there for now. Read the legislation, read the administrative function. Yeah.
Asante sana Padi Onyango na asante sana wakili. Na baada ya kuwasikiliza wataalam, naomba sasa utukubalie Mheshimiwa Rais tuwape nafasi wananchi wachache na viongozi wachache waweze kutoa maoni yao. And I wish to most humbly and with utmost humility request all the speakers to observe time strictly as we agreed, and to also respect the program as set, so that when we invite you, it's only you and you won't invite somebody else to speak. Most kindly. Na kwa sasa Mheshimiwa Rais, naomba uniruhusu nimwite Mama Pendo, Baba Pendo na Joseph Maina Kawe wazungumze kwa kifupi. Mama Pendo, karibu.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, Habari ya asubuhi. Kwa majina naitwa Lensa Chieng. Mimi ndio mamake Pendo. Na kama familia ya Pendo, si tumekuja kuhubiri amani ili tusonge mbele. Sitaki kusema mengi, mmejua chenye ilifanyika wakati uchaguzi mwezi wa 8 2017. A flower was uprooted from my garden and it can never be replaced. I can be given another person, but not the same person like Pendo. Kwa wanasiasa, sisi wana Kenya, mkikuja kwetu, muuze sera zenyu, tupige debe, wale wenye tujashinda, tukubaliane na mwenye ameshinda, tusongeshe Kenya yetu mbele. Na mnapokuja kwetu, mchunge chenye inatoka kwa ulimi yenu. Msifanye sisi youth tupigane na nyinyi mnaendelea mbele. Wewe sema tu yako yenye uko nayo, tukubaliane nayo, vile BBI tujisomee. Nikikubali nipige tick, nikikata nipige X. Tusongeshe Kenya mbele. Na nawaomba wanasiasa, ikuwe mwisho kwa kitu ilitendeka 2017, mwanamke yoyote asilie mtoto wake na familia yoyote isilie mtu wake. Msituache sisi victim tubaki na pain and agony while you move on. Wakati yenye tumepata msiba, kuja kwetu uangalie how are those victims faring on, and let the nation move on. President Uhuru Kenyatta, I've never seen you face to face, but I know you are a cheerful person, and I was happy when Honorable Raila came and shake hand so that we can move the country forward. Ndio maana nasemanga mwanamke anakuanga gangari. Mwanamke unzampiga, mwanaume anzapiga mwanamke, afure uso. Akiamka asubuhi jirani amuulize nini nilikufanya, atasema liteleza, na atacheka ili asitoe hiyo uchi wake. Ikuwe hivyo, tusitoe uchi wetu, tukue kama mwanamke gangari. Asante.
Asante sana Mama Pendo, asante sana. Niombe sasa umshike mtoto Baba Pendo naye aweze kuja kusema kwa kifupi. Baba Pendo, karibu.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, amjambo? Mko salama? Mimi kwa majina naitwa Joseph Abanja, mimi ndio babake Pendo. So imekuwa hivyo, ikafanyika, but lazima nchi endelee mbele. Ya kwanza nataka kupongeza Rais na Mheshimiwa Raila kwa kuleta handshake, juu venye walileta handshake, dunia ilikuwa na amani. So the only thing nataka kusema saa hii, jameni, ni Wakenya tuko watu wazuri. Tusidanganyane hapa ati siasa hivi ikifika saa ya nini matusi pale mtu anakuja na kumalizia sira na huko kwa hapo. So ituweke tu kama like I say, like a football pitch. Patana Gor Mahia na FC, Gor Mahia imepiga FC imepiga Gor Mahia, maisha yanaendelea mbele. Hakuna mtu anauliwa. Si ndio? So tukishakuwa hivyo, Kenya itaendelea mbele na Kenya itasonga mbele. But ningependa kuomba Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kwamba venye mmeshikiliana na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, msiachane mkono jamani. Msiachane mkono jamani. Msonge mbele na BBI. Venye nimesikia kwa uchache tu, pia nilipewa nimesoma kidogo tu. Naona ni kitu tutaleta mabadiliko kwa maisha yetu. So tupige debe ya BBI, tusonge mbele, tusiuane, tusimwagi damu tena. Wacha damu ya mwanangu ndiko ya mwisho kuwatika election kumwagika tena. Wacha damu ya mwanangu ndiko ya mwisho. Kwa hiyo machache tu nasema asante Na Mheshimiwa Rais, kumbuka familia ya Bibi Pendo. Msituache hivyo sana bwana. Mmetuacha tunateseka bwana. Asanteni.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, majina yangu naitwa Joseph Maina Kawe kutoka kaunti ya Nakuru katika sub-county ya Molo. Nimesimama hapa kwa sababu mimi ni mmoja wa wale ambao wameathirika sana na vita vya baada ya uchaguzi ambao ilianza kunisumbua nikiwa miaka 13 na hadi siku hii ya leo niko mjini Molo nikikodesha nyumba na kwetu nina kwetu ambako ni kule juu upande wa Kulesoi. Na haya mambo yote kutoka mwaka wa 1992 kulitokea vita, na wakati huo mwajua ya kwamba mtoto wa miaka 13 hawezi akapiga kura, hana kitambulisho. Siwezi kujua ni mambo gani yaliyonipata ili niweze kuomba kwetu, nyumba zikachomwa, ng'ombe zetu zikaibiwa na mambo mengi yakafuatilia. Tukafika mjini Molo, baada ya kipindi tena tulirudi na kukawa na amani. Tukarudi mwaka wa 1997, yale maneno yakajirudia, na ikawa ya kwamba tena kile kidogo ambacho tulikuwa tumeleta pamoja na mama yetu mjane, ikawa ya kwamba tena kimeharibika, sio kwa sababu ya jambo lingine, ni kwa sababu ya matukio ya baada ya siasa. Mwaka wa 2003 ikawa hivyo, mwaka wa 2005 wakati wa wako draft ikarudia hivyo, na mwaka wa 2008 ikawa ndio ilikuwa mbaya kuliko zote. Ombi langu siku hii ya leo ni ya kwamba jameni, ninavyosikia kama vile nimesikia ikielezwa, kama vile nimeiangalia, nimekuwa nikiuliza tiba itatoka wapi? Tiba ambayo inaweza ponya taifa letu mara moja na mwisho. Kwa sababu kuna wakati tulidhania ya kwamba kwa sababu ya kupata kiongozi wa kabila letu tutapata amani, lakini pia hata wakati tulipata hivyo amani hatukuipata. Jameni, ninaposoma dokumenti hii na kama ndio itakuwa tiba, ombi langu ni hili: nisaidieni, kwa sababu siku hii ya leo mametu alisukumwa na hata leo yuko kaburini baada ya depression nyingi. Na mimi naomba ya kwamba kama kuna kitu ambacho singetaka watoto wangu wakione na vizazi vya baadaye, ni yale mambo ambayo nimeyapitia. Mungu awabariki na Mungu abariki taifa la Kenya.
Nitamwalika sasa Mheshimiwa Kate Waruguru na Alex Matere waongee kwa niaba ya vijana. Mheshimiwa.
BBI, unaniambia Kenya moja. BBI! BBI! Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, on this historic day, katika ukumbi wa Bomas, on a day when you are born and you are celebrating your birthday. Happy birthday, Your Excellency. Mimi nitasema tu machache kuhusu maneno ya vijana. Sisi kama vijana tumechoka kila baada ya miaka 5. Vijana wanatumika kufanya campaign ikikwisha maneno yao inakuishia pale. Kando na hiyo uchafuzi ambao huwa unatokea, biashara za sisi kama vijana zinaharibika. And we want to thank the handshake, the President and Right Honorable Raila Odinga for inviting us on this occasion to have a national dialogue and a national conversations, because there is no country without us as young people in this Republic of Kenya. Mheshimiwa Rais, wewe unakaa kama Nehemia. Umekubali kutuita sisi kama Wakenya tujadiliane na tuongee juu ya kuta ambazo zimeanguka. Tunakuomba ufunge masikio yako mkiwa na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga na viongozi ambayo kwa midomo yao na vinywa vyao wanasema wanataka kuona Kenya ikiendelea mbele. Conversation ya BBI lazima ikuwe ni conversation ya patriotism and not a conversation of 2022 politics or 2027 politics. We want to see sisi kama wamama, vijana wetu wakimaliza standard 8 ama form 4, the government will be taking care of our youth as opposed to us investing in individuals ambao wanakuambia tutakuweka ndani ya serikali ijayo. Sisi tunataka haki yetu ilindwe na serikali ndani ya katiba, ndani ya BBI. Tunaomoka kwa katiba na sio kuomoka kwa biashara ya kutengwa. Kwa hayo mengi na machache, naomba Mungu awabariki.
Your Excellency the President, Your Excellency the Deputy President, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, it is with profound humility that I stand before you today representing the more than 39 million young people of our country. Your Excellency, it is the former President of the United States, J.F. Kennedy, who said that the future prospects of a nation can be directly measured by the kind of investment that its leadership bestows on the young people. And as I stand here today, I know when the introduction was being done that the head of secretariat of the BBI task force together with the secretariat are actually young people. That it was actually very inconceivable that a young person from the western region, Trans Nzoia County for instance, can have the opportunity of standing and addressing such a gathering in Kenya today. If that is anything to go by, then the future of Kenya is indeed luminous. Your Excellency, first allow me to join the other speakers in congratulating you and the Right Honorable Prime Minister for the magnanimity introducing the handshake that has given birth to the BBI. One thing that I'm sure of is that when the history of our nation will be written, your names will be written in the golden pages of that book. Your Excellency, allow me secondly to appreciate the task force because they went round and they collected the views and aspirations of the young people. And I can confidently report to you today that the views, the aspirations and the perspective of the young people are in the document as we speak. In the annexure of that document, the task force recognizes the youth as a special segment upon which the foundation of a peaceful, cohesive and prosperous nation will be built on. Secondly, Your Excellency, the youth of our country have been feeling that they have been left out. And we have a common cliche that if you're not on the table, then you're on the menu. And the youth of this country have been on the menu for far too long. At this particular moment, when we are launching the BBI report, I'm happy and elated as any other youth from this country that the report gives us a table on the seat by introducing a youth commission that will ensure our issues are mainstreamed and that we have serious engagement with government and other non-state actors. Secondly, we have a problem and a very great challenge in terms of unemployment and unemployment of the young people. The report faces it in three phases. That one, we have TVETs that are able to train our people with skills and so that they can be able to develop our country. And secondly, we have the biashara mashinani that is also part and parcel of the document. And thirdly, we have business incubation centers that are going to the world level. With all this together, merged together, you can be rest assured that the young people at mashinani are going to change their prospects and also the prospects of this country. In the language of mashinani, I can tell you, Your Excellency, vijana wanasema ya kwamba mbogi za mtaa zinaenda kuomoka na BBI. Lastly, Your Excellency, as we celebrate the gains that are going to come with BBI, we should also be wary of the political class. And as the youth of this country, we've experienced the politicians who have mastered the art of conning, conniving, confusing, and taking advantage of our youth and cutting corners with their future. We are here today to give them notice. We've seen some of them who are parading inventions that happened during the 16th century of a one-wheel machine. And we are telling them this morning that the 16th century inventions cannot be used to solve the challenges of the 21st century. Because reggae is back, Your Excellency. because reggae is back, allow me to quote Bob Marley, and he sang and said that you can lie to some people sometimes, you can lie to some people all the time, but you cannot lie to all the people all the time. In conclusion, Your Excellency, Martin Luther King said that all of us, and I paraphrase, that all of us must endeavor to fly, but if we cannot fly, then we run, and if we cannot run, then we walk, and if we cannot walk, then we crawl. The message of the young people today is that they will going to fly with you, that they are going to run with you, that they are going to walk with you, and if circumstances force us, then we are going to crawl with you to ensure that your legacy is secured and delivered, and also that the prospects of the BBI are united. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, asante sana. Mheshimiwa Mishiboko, Rene Mayaka na Governor Charity Ngilu wataongea kwa niaba ya kina mama. Mheshimiwa.
Mheshimiwa Rais wa Taifa la Kenya, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, Naibu wa Rais, Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga, itifaki zote zikizingatiwa, mabibi na mabwana, Kenya hoye! Waswahili wanasema hayawi hayawi ua. Leo tumefikia siku mwafaka, siku muhimu ambayo tunazindua ripoti ya BBI, ripoti ambayo ilikuwa inazungumzia kujenga madaraja. Madaraja ya kuleta amani katika taifa letu la Kenya. Madaraja ya kujenga umoja katika taifa letu la Kenya. Madaraja ya kuleta ufanisi wa maendeleo katika nyanjani. Kwa niaba ya kina mama wenzangu viongozi na kina mama wa Kenya, sisi tunaunga mkono ripoti hii kwa sababu imeangazia haki za kimsingi za kina mama. Tukiangalia Mheshimiwa Rais, BBI imezungumzia ya kwamba katika nafasi ya ugavana, gavana akiwa mwanamke, naibu wake atakuwa mwanamume. Hivyo basi, jambo hili litaweza kutupatia ngazi sisi kama kina mama wa taifa la Kenya tuweze kupata hatua ya kuingia katika uongozi wa ugavana katika kaunti zetu. Vile vile katika seneta, sasa hivi tulikuwa tu na masenesa wateuliwa 16 na wale watatu tu wachache waliochaguliwa. Lakini sasa tutapata sauti ya kina mama waliochaguliwa kikura, watakao kuwa na haki ya kupiga kura pale katika bunge la seneti na kuweza kufanya maamuzi ya kuhusu mambo ya county government zetu pale mashinani. Mheshimiwa Rais, tunajua hapo awali tulikuwa na wale kina mama 47 katika National Assembly. Lakini sasa hivi katika ripoti ya BBI tunaona kuna formula nyingine ambazo zinazungumziwa ili kuona ya kwamba tutaweza kuhakikisha ile sheria ya thuluthi mbili ya jinsia itaweza kupatikana. Tunaomba sana wale wataalamu, wale tunawaita experts, waweze kuweka formula ambayo haitaleta tena utata ifikie ya kwamba eti bunge la taifa liweze kuvunjwa. Tunasema ya kwamba Mkenya aisome BBI report, tusiweze kudanganyika na porojo, tusiweze kushika propaganda. Huno si wakati wa kudharauliana, huno si wakati wa matusi, huno si wakati wa kejeli. Huno ni wakati sisi wa Kenya tuje pamoja, tujizatiti, tuwe kidete, tuweze kufungua ukurasa mwingine wa taifa la Kenya lenye umoja, amani, ufanisi na maendeleo katika nyanja zetu. Jamani, mwenzako anaposema mimi naipinga katiba, muite karibu, mzungumzie, mpe ushauri, aielewe kinagaubwaga, ndiposa tuweze kufanya maamuzi. Na mimi kwa yale mengi yamezungumziwa ambayo tumeyapata, si elimu, si universal health, si mambo ya mashamba, si mambo ya kilimo. Jamani, tusikose mwana na maji ya moto, tushikane kidete kimoja kama wa Kenya, tuhakikishe tuna ukurasa mwingine. Wakati wa siasa ukija, tuwe kama wenzetu majirani wa Tanzania, tunapiga kura na tunafanya uwiano na tunakuwa na mapenzi. Twakupenda sana Mheshimiwa Rais, Twakupenda sana Mheshimiwa Raila kwa sababu umetuenzi sisi kama kina mama. Endelea kutuenzi, uache urithi wako ama legacy yako iwe itazungumziwa na vizazi vijavyo kuhusiana na uongozi wa kina mama, vijana na walemavu. Asanteni.
Your Excellency, the President of Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Your Excellency, elections such as ours in previous years have always come out with an aspect of winner takes all, where some Kenyans end up laughing all the way to the bank as others laugh all the way to the toilet. Your Excellency, we are particularly happy with the handshake that happened between you and the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga on March 2018. That for some of us came as a shock, but we were quickly very happy about it because as a result of it, the country that is Kenya has started to be in the process of ensuring that we are no longer polarized. Your Excellency, as the women of Kenya, we are particularly very happy with the BBI. Wamama tumefurahi ama tujafurahi? Tumefurahi ama tujafurahi? We are happy, Your Excellency, because in particular when I talk about the Senate, where now we will have our women being able to vote, and now we even want to have the formula coming back so that the women of Kenya in the Senate can actually vote for a higher percentage for water, and they can vote for a higher percentage for women empowerment at the county level. Your Excellency, we are happy with the Youth Commission, that we must say right now that we want it to be explicit, leaving no room for maneuvers and variances. Your Excellency, as a member of County Assembly, from the County Assembly of Nyamira, we are particularly happy with the 35% that is coming to the devolution. We are also happy with 5% for ward development because this has been a thorny issue for many members of county assemblies for a very long time. At least now we are able to ensure that Article 35 is taken care of. Sisi kama ma MCA tunangoja the next process na tutacheza kama sisi. Your Excellency, as a young Kenyan, I recall that one day on the 25th of July 2019, together with 4 other young ladies, you gave us a platform as presidential candidates in a reality TV. And because of that platform, Your Excellency, I want to assure you that together with other like-minded young Kenyans, we are starting a Baraza la Vijana forums to enable our young people have discussions on the BBI report so that we can make informed decisions. Your Excellency, as I conclude, I'd like to say, as the mothers of this country, we will nurture the BBI report like a baby. We ask the fathers to join us so that 50 years from now, our children and our children's children can celebrate the BBI 50th birthday. And speaking of birthdays, Your Excellency, on behalf of the women of Kenya, I'd like to wish you a happy birthday. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless our nation of Kenya. And may the good bless all of you. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Rais Huru Muigai Kenyatta, Your Excellency, Mheshimiwa former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, Mheshimiwa Deputy President, mabibi na mabwana, hamjambo. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Let me just say I have been invited here to speak
on behalf of women, but I also speak on behalf of Kenyans. And to say that today is a great day. 10 years ago, we met in this very same place and we promulgated a new constitution. We said then that we will continue to make any amendments that are necessary. 10 years after, we have reflected, we have seen some of the things that needs to be changed, and we are here to change them. And we are going to change them so that we can get everybody included in the running affairs of this nation. We do not want anybody to be left behind. Therefore, Your Excellency and the former Prime Minister, thank you so much for coming together in a timely way, shook hands, agreed, and we put every Kenyan to be part of this. I would like to say, Your Excellency, from where I'm sitting as the governor of Kitui County, first and foremost, I really say thank you that in this constitution, we are going to have extra resources that will go mashinani. And that is what a lot of people have been advocating. We have been getting 15%. Now we are talking about 35%. Surely 35% will get Kenyans out of ufukara, will get Kenyans out of maskini, and these are the things that we have all been fighting for since independence 57 years ago. Today is the time for we leaders to appreciate, with more resources on the ground, using those resources well, for sure Kenya will start growing. And for the leadership to understand that if we use the resources well, we can now actually implement our Big Four agenda, ensuring that every Kenyan has food, ensuring that we can get universal health care, ensuring that we can manufacture, and the leadership to sell our goods, both in the country and outside the country. Small handouts. Small handouts coming from leaders has no place in this country. Let us get every Kenyan working for what they believe we believe in. Your Excellency, having said that, first and foremost, I also want to insist that these resources must make sure that Kenyans get better health care, that women can get water into their kitchens, that we can have food on the table. For me, that is the basic needs that we have fought for many years. Your Excellency, National Assembly issue of 2/3 gender rule has not been addressed in this proposed constitution. Remember, there is a serious threat of Chief Justice Maraga that we must have the 2/3 gender rule. And when they say that, it is not others, it is we women who are targeted. Your Excellency, the 7 depositions that will be given to the National Assembly, then put it there that they will all of them go to women. All of them, without exception. Your Excellency, you know, I wear 2 hats. I'm a party leader, and I'm also a woman, and I'm a governor, and the only one governor you didn't even call. So let me take 3 minutes. Your Excellency, finally, the executive is very silent. We know those positions up there, it is easy and we know it can happen. That watu wakae pahali, now they will do always what they do. We want those 5 positions to ensure there is a 2/3 gender rule applied. Your Excellency, it is said, and it must be said all the time. Where 2 or 3 are gathered to make policy decisions, there's got to be gender rule applied. I want to thank you. God bless Kenya. Tuingie mashinani, tuuze hii katiba. Hii katiba ni lazima ipite. Asante sana. God bless you.
Asante sana Governor. Atakayetoa maoni yake sasa ni Ashura Michael na atasaidiwa na mtafsiri Flora Atieno.
His Excellency, Honorable President, Uhuru Kenyatta, His Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, our Deputy President, Honorable Ruto, all protocol observed. I'm pleased to be here to witness the milestone that we've been waiting for a long time. I appreciate on behalf of my community, which is the deaf community, BBI is not about Honorable Raila and my President Uhuru. BBI is about me and you. It's to promote diversity in our nation. BBI is going to unite us. We have persons with disabilities, we have the women, we have youth. We've been all enacted into the BBI. My name is Ashura Michael, a graduate of Nairobi University and taking law in the same university. This BBI is to change our lives for the better, to change our life for all of us to live as we want. I appreciate you, and I would like to ask everyone to read this document. Read keenly. Don't let anyone read for you. Thank you for the good work that you're doing. As persons with disabilities, we have benefited in the BBI. Article 54(2) of the Constitution, I'm happy that the word progressive have been removed, and it will make sure that persons with disabilities access different positions. We have the disability bill that has been in the National Assembly for a long time, awaiting debate. It will make sure it's implemented within 2 years. We have the Kenya policy on guide and unity to diversity. It's going to make sure that our positions are not lost in this document. Right now, 17 counties don't have representative of persons with disabilities, but I'm sure with the BBI, we are going to be represented in all the counties. I'd like to encourage my brothers and sisters to go through the document. The aspiring governors, I'd like to encourage you to kindly appoint persons with disabilities to be your deputies. Don't listen from anyone. Don't listen to anyone. Kindly take your time to read this document, and I believe it's going to change your mind. Na nikimalizia, mtukufu Rais, I'd like to thank you so much for uniting us, making our country best to develop for our children. Thank you for improving our economy. Finally, Mheshimiwa Rais, recently you went to Kisumu na nikasikia ukisema unatafuta mpango wa kando. Najua mama alikubali. Babangu Raila yuko hapa, ako tayari kuchukua mahari, na ndugu yangu hapa Deputy President akikubali atakuwa best man. Sasa na mama wa taifa tutaendelea kubuild bridges pamoja. Na sasa mtoto wa BBI atazaliwa. Asanteni sana.
Tumpungie mkono hewani, tumpungie mkono hewani. Asante. Asante sana. Kwa niaba ya wafanya biashara hapa nchini, asante. Asante. Kwa niaba ya wafanyabiashara hapa nchini, Nick Nesbit wa Kepsa, Mike Raba na Richard Muteti wataongea kwa kifupi. Karibuni. Nick, we strictly 3 minutes kindly so that we are able to move the program. Na wakati anakuja nitakubusha wale wote ambao wataongea, tulikubaliana kwa heshima dakika 3. Asante.
Thank you. Your Excellency, good morning, happy birthday on behalf of the private sector and everybody. Right Honorable Raila Odinga, Deputy President, Honorable William Ruto, distinguished guests, all protocols observed. Good morning, everybody. My name is Nick Nesbitt, and I'm chairman of KEPSA, the Private Sector Alliance. But I'm standing here not really to talk perhaps only on behalf of private sector, but also to talk on behalf of the Multi-Sectoral Forum. This is an organization or a group of organizations from the religious, the civil society, the media, professionals, youth, women groups that all came together at the end of 2018 to talk about the ills of our country and the positives of our country. And we came together and presented a report to the BBI to address what we thought would help move the country forward. And we're very happy and pleased, Your Excellency, to read many of our recommendations and see that they have been included in the BBI report. And for that, to the BBI team, I say asanteni and thank you very much. So my comments are, I hope to be very brief here, but what I want to talk about is how do we create an inclusive economy? And I'm coming from the private sector, the economy side. How do we make sure it's fair and equitable, that youth, women, and even the elderly can participate? How do we make sure that this is a country that improves its competitiveness so that the SMEs in Kenya can expand in the region and expand in the world? And to do that, we have a few points. One of them is we must adopt an ethos of self-regulation. We talk about it as nyumba kumi, but we must all become our brother and sisters keepers. That means as professionals, that means as people in the wards at all levels, we must bring honesty and integrity to our work, and we must call out people who are not doing the same. We must ensure that in this inclusive economy, we can ensure that all the people who want to participate in programs, in projects, in companies, in tenders, can do that safely and they can be certain to win. This issue of hii tender ni ya hawa must stop. We must ensure that young people and women can win fair and square. We must build an export-led economy. We must ensure that everything that we do in terms of the money that we raise as companies and the taxes that we pay is put to good use. We must ensure the public is engaged in all sectors of the economy, and we reach out to everybody and ensure that we can move forward together. So with those few words, I just want to say thank you that our report was included. We, as business people, always do handshakes. We thank you for your handshakes, and we like the whole concept of shaking hands. However, the pandemic has made it a little more difficult. So we give a fist pump to everybody, and we wish us all a very good day. And thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency, Deputy President, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good. My name is Michael Rabah. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the SME sector. I'm the founder of a group of companies called the Homeboys Entertainment Group of Companies. We're in the business of entertainment, sports, media, and broadcasting. Homeboys was founded 20 years ago while I was in university. I began my business by selling cassettes to matatus. In our past 20 years of existence, the company has now grown to employ over 200 young people whose livelihoods fully depend on the growth and sustenance of the entertainment industry. Your Excellency, it's not been easy building and sustaining the business under the current prevailing environment, especially being in the Juakali sector. However, with commitment, perseverance, and hard work, we have soldiered on and have been very successful in expanding the business as we continue creating employment opportunities for young people. Despite the challenges, Your Excellency, we are, however, proud to state today that by the end of this year, we shall be listing in the NSE, the first of its kind. This, indeed, Your Excellency, is a milestone and will be a first for business like ours in the Jokali sector. This goes to show to my fellow entrepreneurs, with hard work, vision, commitment, and an enabling environment, and repeat the terms, enabling environment, our dreams can come true. So, Your Excellency, what does BBI mean for small businesses? As for the document, its first aim is to reduce the hurdles of setting up small businesses. The cost of doing business shall be reduced, the bureaucracy of getting paperwork shall be reduced as well, and this shall encourage businesses in the smallest sector to thrive. Secondly, it aims to give youth-owned enterprises a 7-year tax break. That is music to our ears. 7-year tax break, meaning small businesses can now set up and pay taxes 7 years once they establish themselves. I think for us, had this been happened a few years ago, it would have been much, much bigger than we are right now. Thirdly, it aims to set up business incubation centers across the country for the purposes of providing access to finance, advice, mentorship, and access to market and to government contracts. These are resources we never had as we set up our business 20 years ago. So this, again, is a big positive that BBI brings to the table. Again, having been a university student, I know what it means to have to pay your HELB loan immediately you get your first job. The BBI proposes to give us a 4-year moratorium, a grace period in which to settle down, start our businesses, then begin paying our loans. That, again, a big plus for those who've just come out of university. Again, BBI aims to increase the county shareable revenue from 15% to 35%. That means that there shall be a lot of business opportunities for young people right in the county level. No need to rush to the city to get these jobs, all right? It also aims to create a fund at the ward where 5% of all revenue county receives, 5% gets to the county at the ward level, meaning there will be enhanced business opportunities for young people in the local wards. And lastly, it supports the setup of affordable and reliable access to digital platforms and villages. This will promote e-commerce at all sectors. Anybody with products in the village can then access a market both locally and internationally. I think, Your Excellency, this will be a big positive boost for businesses in the country. Your Excellency, as we build bridges, the BBI will also help build businesses. I think the second issue with businesses as well, not beyond bridges. So building bridges, building businesses initiative. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, ladies and gentlemen, Jambo. My name is Richard Muteti. I'm representing the National Federation of Juakali Associations and the National Coalition of Informal Sector Coalition on Business Continuity. Your Excellency, I'm happy today to inform you that among the crowds, among the hundreds of people here, is the National Chairman of Kenya National Hawkers Association, Makofi kwa Hawkers, and the National Chairman of the Kenya National Federation of Juakali Associations. Your Excellency, we also have the National Chairman of the Nduthi sector, United Border Associations. I have just a few points today. Your Excellency, the informal economic sector is the biggest single employer in this country. It employs more than 16.4 million people who put their food on the table. And the informal economic sector has been the biggest victim of politicians. They are the people who vote, and they are the people who fight. They are the people who manufacture the jembes and the arrows you see. And they are the people who are confused. For the first time in this document, the SMEs or MSMEs are recognized officially by this document. It has never been recognized in this country. Your Excellency, a few points that are making us support this document, namely the Constitution. The people talk about Kenya, the importance of the SME sector, but they have never constituted them officially and mainstreamed them. This document is mainstreaming the MSME sector into the Constitution. That's a very big plus for us. Your Excellency, MSMEs do business. The government is the biggest purchaser. Your Excellency, when our people are not paid on time, they die. Because They have nothing. They have no money to sustain themselves as the big boys. So if you give our people business and you take more than 2 months, that's why, Your Excellency, most of our people work with medicine in their pocket. But I'm happy to inform you today that this document talks about the prompt payment bill, whereby now it will be mandatory for our people to be paid on time. They will not be begging. And this is going to create employment, is going to create jobs, and is going to give hope to millions of Kenyans in this country. Your Excellency, we are talking about, in this document, the business incubation centers. That we are going to have business information incubation centers in all areas, mpaka mashinani. That will not be coming from Kisumu, from Machakos to Nairobi to seek for help. That your small business will be nurtured where you are. Makofi kwa BBI. For the first time, we are also talking about business registration by the youth, the women, and people with disability, majority of whom are in the informal economic sector. This is the first time that they are going to be mainstreamed in the constitution. The other times, imekuwa ni story na porojo. This time, they're going to be mainstreamed inside, and they're going to be measured, and their supplies are going to be appreciated. Your Excellency, lastly, we are talking about tax holidays. It has never been in this country before that a startup starts paying tax immediately. So he is knocked by taxes, he dies. This document says, start your small business and do it for 7 years. Nurture yourself, then you will grow. Ain't it a good thing? Lastly, Your Excellency, the informal economic sector in this country, people think that it is not organized. We have an elaborate structure in this country. We have an elaborate structure in the region. I am the head of the Secretariat of the Informal Sector in the East African region, and one of the messages they have for this country is that they are waiting for this BBI to pass, empower our MSCs, and then they encourage their countries also to have a BBI. Thank you very much.
Naomba uniruhusu Mheshimiwa Rais niwaite sasa Askofu David Ogide na Ibrahim Ridhome waongee kwa niaba ya viongozi wa kidini. Bishop na Ibrahim, karibuni. And I will still remind all of us who are speaking that we kindly stick to the 3 minutes kindly. Thank you.
Your Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, Your Excellency Deputy President, and Right Honorable Prime Minister, we are delighted to be here this day. As a religious community, our greatest concern for the nation is peace. That we live in a peaceful environment where everybody is able to do that which they would want to do without interference, without fear of anything happening to them. And so, over the years, we have tried our best to be peace brokers for this country. I was privileged in 2017 after the contested results of the elections, that I was part of a small team that from the diplomatic community, from the business sector, from civil society, and the religious communities under the leadership of the former US Ambassador Robert Godek. For several months, we engaged in a shuttle diplomacy, committed to seeing this country get back to normalcy. Sadly, both sides were extremely hard. And I can tell you it was one of the most difficult responsibilities that I've ever had. It therefore came as a great and pleasant surprise when Your Excellency and Right Honorable Prime Minister stood on the steps of Harambee House in the famous handshake. We were delighted that you also spoke of creating a national conversation on issues that bedevil this nation every electoral season. This has been one of our key plans to create a national conversation. In fact, our group was loosely known as National Conversation. Your Excellency, I say all this to let you know that the spirit of national conversation has been with some of us for a very long time, well before BBI. This is because we have believed that unless and until we address the cancer that eats this nation, we will never have enduring peace. To continue with business as usual is to deceive ourselves. It is just a matter of time, and this country will one of these days explode to unquenchable flames. For this reason, we want to unequivocally laud the efforts that have been made by the steering team and by your leadership in addressing these issues. Your Excellency, we, however, have some very serious concerns. In this nation, we have developed a very dangerous tendency of politicizing everything. Even a very important matter as constitution making gets shrouded in political intrigues. That is why we are finding ourselves with laws that cannot satisfy the desire of the political class, but do not effectively address our national needs and aspirations. It is in this light that I want to plead with our political leaders. Please allow the current process to objectively lay a foundation for the future of this nation. We must therefore remember that the laws you make today will tie your hands and your feet tomorrow. The liberties you take away today will imprison you tomorrow. It is most unfortunate that the politics of our nation is based on divide and rule. Politicians somehow believe that the only way to succeed is to divide us into dichotomous categories of us versus them. Yet, political interests shift rapidly. Between 2017 and 2020, the political formations have changed significantly. In fact, I want to prophesy that it will not be a surprise before 2022 that Dr. William Ruto and Honorable Raila Odinga will be on the same side. It is a fact that no nation has ever become great through division. The Bible is clear that where there is unity, the Lord commands a blessing. A cord of 3 strands cannot be broken. Your Excellency, perhaps it is time that hustlers should pause their hustling for a moment, and the reggae dancers pause their dance for a moment, and join together in a serious Jerusalem dance for the sake of the peace and the unity of this nation. After all, DJ Master KG and his sister remind us that the New Jerusalem is our ultimate home. Finally, Your Excellency, in 2005 and in the 2010 referendum, the church said no because of various major principles. We would like to see this addressed. We have noticed that the pillar of religion and faith seems to be completely missing. Furthermore, the Religious Freedom Bill that was to help the registration of religious groups seems to have been left out. Issues of marriage and family need to be taken care of. Your Excellency, we want to assure you that as a Christian community, after this launch, we are going to review the report and make our position known. If we choose to support it, it will be because we believe it is good for the country. If we find anything contrary, we will call for appropriate amendment. God bless you and thank you for a great work. Amen.
Asante sana Askofu. Naomba niwaalike sasa Wilson Sosion na Francis Atwoli kwa niaba ya wafanyikazi. Kwa heshima. Na niombe na niendelee kuomba we stick to the 3 minutes. Mzee, tunaweza kuanza na Mzee Atwoli because you are here, sir. Kindly.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Deputy President, and all delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Hii ni siku ya historia, sababu tumekusanya na tumepitia safari ya kina kama wa Kenya. As a country and from the labor perspective, it has been very disturbing from 1992. We drive our country into points of uncertainties, killings in every election. 1997, the same, but in 2002, we were more historic and more decisive as a country because we were very optimistic and we came together through NAG. But we lost it again in 2005 during the referendum. We went in different direction. Now 2007, the same thing. I think, rightly as has been presented by the committee of experts, we agree the document is wonderful. And all what we need moving forward is to objectively reflect and open a robust conversation and improve the document and go through a referendum and pass it so that we can have peaceful elections in 2022 and a robust economy that guarantees employment of the youth in this country. There is no solution to the youth except guarantee to decent employment. And that decent employment is in a strong economy. And that explains why, as a labor movement, we were very passionate in campaigning for a handshake even before elections in 2017. But now that it has come, we urge all Kenyans to close rank and we stand together and support this document. Where there are gaps, there should be room for us to correct. From the labor movement, we even think the aspect of the constitutional commissions needs to be worked on more thoroughly so that workers who are the main drivers of the economy can continue enjoying their freedom and right to negotiate without much interference from the institutions that we have created. In overall, we support this process, but we urge more engagement and more friendship as we deal with it. Thank you.
Yes! Yes! Shenzi sana. Wakati nilisimama hapa last time, nikaambia hii document ni document mzuri na inataka ipigwe msasa kidogo, wengine wakapiga kelele. Na tulikuwa tunajua ni kwa nini. Na nataka kushukuru mtukufu rais. Ulikuwa na nia, ulikuwa na sababu, na ulikuwa na uwezo, na tumeona document. Nataka kuwashukuru wale ma-experts, na nataka kuapili kwa Kenyans wenzangu kwa niaba ya wafanyikazi wa nchi hii. Kuna vitu vingi ambavyo sisi tuliuliza kama wafanyikazi, vingine havijakuwa sawa. Kwa mfano, migomo ya madaktari, kila wakati tulisema tuwe na constitutional commission ili madaktari wakae hospitali kuangalia watoto wetu. Mambo ya SRC na madoyas wako hapa, profesa alikuwa mwenyekiti mdogo wa steering committee. Unajua hii kitu inaitwa SRC, it contradicts the ILO convention number 87 and number 98 on free collective bargaining. And Kenya is a signatory to that convention, and the ILO domesticated it here. It is reflected in Article 41 of our current constitution. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni kitu ya kutolewa kwa ajili mshahara wako ni kati yako na mwajiri wako. Hiyo tutaangalia. Jambo lingine sisi tulikuwa tumeuliza, ilikuwa ni mambo ya special seats for special interests. We need to have a constituency. Brothers Osion don't need to go through ODM to represent workers in parliament. We need to have our own constituents as workers, and at our governing council we elect our representative to represent us in parliament. Not through political parties, not through my party can. But hizo tutaangalia wakati wanatengeneza constitutional amendment bill. Kama haiwezekani, jambo kubwa liliangaliwa, mambo ya all inclusiveness. Watu wamesema, Mama Pendo amesema hapa, nikatoa machozi. Wakati shida inapotokea, sisi wafanyikazi tuko katika miji mikubwa, ni watoto wa mama na wafanyikazi ndio wanapata shida. Wengi wakubwa wenzangu wanatoroka. Na katika nchi hii, na mimi najua tukufu rais ndugu yako Raila Amolo Odinga ni mmoja wao wale wa Kenya, and I should say he's the only one maybe after the late Matiba, ambao wanaweza kupeana holiday outside government gazetted holiday. Kwa hiyo ndugu yako Mheshimiwa tukufu rais akitangaza tu hapa saa hii watu wasiende kazini na waende Uhuru Park, hataki facilitation money, hataki campaign, that place will be full. Na wakati kazi inapofungwa, sisi mtukufu rais ndio tunaumiana, ndio kwa sababu tunaunga handshake mkono. And I want to support Bishop. Politicians, a politician ambaye anaona mbali na yule anatakia watu wake mazuri. Please, sisi 2022 ni mbali. Njaa iko sasa. Na mimi nataka kuambia hivi, na msikie, na hii ni ya mwisho, nipe dakika moja. I'm an elder and there is no another elder in this Republic of Kenya. When we were growing, tulikuwa na polytechnics. Kazi ya hizi polytechnics ilikuwa ni kufundisha tailoring, mason and motor mechanics. Wale makanika wa siku hizo, mechanics wa siku hizo ambao walijifunza hiyo kazi, ukiwapatia gari la sasa ambalo na automatic, computerized, hawawezi kuendesha. When I was growing, I was trained as a telephone technician. Simu za kisasa siwezi kutengeneza. People are talking of digital economy, blue economy, smart economy. Tusielekeze watoto wetu kwa mambo ya zamani. The world is changing fast and we need na tunapeleka watoto kwa shule, na unataka mtoto yako akitoka kwa shule afunge tai. Yes. Rais, hii document nataka kuambia pamoja ukiwa na ndugu yako, musitishwe. Leteni tuende kwa referendum. We are the majority. We are the people. We are there. We will get it. Usubuhi saina itakuwa imepita. Musitishwe. Kenyans wasitishwe. Tunataka amani. My shop steward 2008 January in Naivasha alikufa akiongea na mimi because of tribal clashes. We don't want to go there. Na tusitishwe sisi. Tusitishwe.
Asante sana. Naomba Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa ruhusa yako niwaite sasa Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia wa NCIC na Bwana Degwa Wahome aliye mwenyekiti wa County Assemblies Forum.
Your Excellency, the President, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, Your Excellency, I want to wish you a happy birthday, and may God continue to richly bless you with good health now and in the days coming. I am thankful for the opportunity to speak during such an important milestone in our collective quest to refine the way society is organized and governed. Building a just, peaceful, and cohesive society is an indispensable pillar of this quest. And given that most of the issues in the Building Bridges agenda touch directly or indirectly on our mandate, we as the National Cohesion and Integration Commission have maintained a keen interest in the BBI process. After all, we are the ones who will be expected to spearhead the implementation of a good number of its recommendations in the days and years ahead. Your Excellency, we all recall the highly polarized and tense state of our nation prior to the handshake. But since then, peace and tranquility has prevailed, and the Kenyans have been able to integrate freely across the Republic, which also has enhanced integration. It is against this backdrop that we should look at today's launch of the BBI report. The BBI report is being launched at a time when we are grappling with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has exposed our class, ethnic, and regional inequalities that have long driven political polarization and fanned conflict in our country. The pandemic has also amplified fragilities in our health and education systems. The BBI recommendations should therefore act as a stimulus to invest in systems to promote prosperity for all, ones that will build a cohesive and peaceful society. My hope is that after we flatten the COVID-19 curve, our national revenge on the pandemic will be also to flatten the gaps in our societies, so that there will be no us versus them, a dichotomy that, if not well considered, could easily lead us the Rwanda way, a way we don't want it to go. Whereas the BBI has the potential to transform our country by resolving many of the underlying issues that lead us into cyclical bouts of electoral unrest, no amount of legislation will take us from a nation of blind ties to a nation of ideals. For this, we, and in particular our leaders, must bring to life the national values as expressed in our Constitution. The evolution of a national ethos essential to our national ideals is critical to the consolidation of our democratic gains and to our quest to build a peaceful, just, cohesive, and prosperous society. In conclusion, I wish to confirm, Your Excellency, that NCIC will continue working to ensure the process is peaceful, leading to a transformation of our political culture and the infusion of healthy values and in uplifting national ethos into the lives of all Kenyans. Thank you, and may God bless Kenya.
Yes, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, Your Excellency, the Deputy President and the Right Honorable Prime Minister, all protocols observed, good afternoon. Yes, my name is Dego Wahome. I am the Speaker for Nyandarua and the Chairman of the County Assemblies Forum. Hiyo ni mabunge yote 47 ya Jamhuri ya Kenya. And to start with, I would wish to quickly introduce the members, Your Excellency, who are here. Can we have the speakers upstanding? The speakers of the county assemblies of this country, kindly. Very well, thank you very much. The deputy speakers, you make it fast. Yes, deputy speakers, you can wave. The majority leaders. Okay, and then all the MCAs from across the country. Can you kindly be upstanding? Asante sana. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, we would have been more than this, but due to the limitations of COVID, we are only to get a few of us so that you would be able to fit here and be part of the history of this country. Your Excellency, as the county assemblies of this country, we have listened to you very carefully. And we have also, in the preliminary, looked at this document that is the BBI. And what we can say at outright, even before we make an assurance to you that actually we are going the 2,287 MCAs in this country, that we commit that we are going to look into this document and we are going to read it ourselves. Secondly is that we are going to ensure, as the leaders who operate at the village level, that this document reaches Wajiko and that Wajiko is able to understand it, is able to appreciate it, is able to own it, and therefore make the right decision on it. But as I've said at the preliminary stage, is that we are very happy and appreciate with the 35% of the vertical sharing of revenue that will be coming to the counties. That one is actually strengthening devolution and securing devolution. And with those kind of resources, Your Excellency, coming to the counties, we are assured that there will be no commotion at the national level for leadership at the national level. Everybody will follow resources at the counties to be able to work for our people at the grassroots. Secondly is that we thank you for the establishment of county assemblies fund. This will ensure that the billions that will come to the counties, that the assemblies are now will be independent financially and will be able to take care of this money to ensure that it serves the purpose for which it was brought to the counties. Your Excellency, we also thank you and we appreciate this report for the reasons that the concept of World Development Fund has been incorporated in this document. And with the World Development Fund, it will be ensured that there is equitable distribution of development programs across the counties. But this will be a point of discussion, and we know that the steering committee and those concerned will listen to us so that this amount goes to at least even 50% of all the funds. Your Excellency, the President, is that as the assemblies of this country, we have said we have only looked at this document at the preliminary, and we can already see good things. We can see good tidings on this document, and I know we are going to bring a positive report on this document. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Bwana Wahome ndiye chairperson County Assemblies Forum. Naomba Mheshimiwa Rais nimwalike sasa Governor Ali Roba na Mheshimiwa Governor Wycliffe Oparanya kwa niaba ya Council of Governors. Mheshimiwa.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, hamjambo. Yangu itakuwa ni fupi sana. Tumezungumzia mambo ya BBI kwa muda mrefu. Dalili yake ambayo imeanza na handshake baina ya Mheshimiwa Rais na Mheshimiwa the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Nataka kuchukua mfano moja mfupi sana. Hivi juzi wakati Mheshimiwa Rais alikuwa Nyanza, na akiwa Kisumu wakati alikuwa amekaribishwa na raia kwa shangwe, vigelegele, vifijo, nderemo na hoihoi, kiasi ya kuwa ukiweza kuangalia runinga furaha iliyoko katika nyuso za wananchi wa Nyanza ambao miaka 8 iliyopita iko kwa inaweza hata kufikirika kimawazo, inadhihirisha Wakenya wamechoka na uhasama baina yao. Na mimi ninaongoza county ambao ni mojawapo wa county ndugu yangu Right Honorable Raila hakuweza kufika kupiga campaign 2 zilizopita kwa sababu ya hiyo uhasama ya kisiasa. Leo hii imetupa fursa ya kuweza kuleta Wakenya pamoja, kuhakikisha tumeangalia siasa tofauti na vile tulikuwa tunaangalia siasa hapo zamani. Ikiwa hakuna sababu nyingine, tunaweza kuiunga hii BBI report pamoja na mabadiliko ambayo imewekwa katika mkakati yake, sababu ya kuweza kuleta Wakenya pamoja na Wakenya kuweza kujiona kama Wakenya pasina utengano, itakuwa ni muhimu sana sisi kupata fursa hii. Kwa wale ambao ni wafugaji, miaka mingi tumeweza kuzungumzia mambo ya marginalization. Devolution ilianza na hiyo 15% imeweza kubadilisha town zetu, imeweza kupatia ajira watu wengi. Mheshimiwa Rais, employment ambayo imegeneratiwa under your leadership under devolution has never been recorded. We need to record because this is also your legacy. There are a lot of people in sectors and subsectors that have been employed under devolution who are making income out directly from the government of Kenya under your leadership. If 15% of devolution and the circular flow of income within our counties today, in 2013 when we were campaigning in my county of Mandera, we could not find vehicles to hire for purpose of campaign. Today there is traffic jam in Mandera town, courtesy of devolution. You can just imagine what 35% can do for areas that were previously considered marginalized. Hatuna sababu nyingi za kuangalia. Hiyo document tumeweza kuangalia kwa kifupi, haina madhara. Lakini manufaa ya hiyo document itakuwa ni mabadiliko na hiyo ajira tunazungumzia katika mashinani. Na mimi nataka kusema tutaiunga mkono 100%. Asante sana na Mungu awabariki.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, mimi nimekuja hapa kuongea kwa niaba ya baraza la magavana. Na tuna magavana wengi ambao wametoka kaunti mbalimbali. Nataka niwatambue, wasimame tu, deputy governors na governors wote wasimame, muone hiyo ndio wamekuja kwa wingi. Na nina apologies kutoka kwa governor wa Kwale, Mheshimiwa Mvurya, hangeweza kuwa na sisi hapa siku ya leo, lakini amesema anaunga mkono BBI. Leo hii na siku ya historia, Mheshimiwa Rais. Ni siku ya historia kwa sababu wewe umetuita hapa kuongea mambo ambayo inaweza kuleta Wakenya pamoja. Na hii ni jambo la muhimu kwa sababu sisi Wakenya tumepata shida nyingi miaka zile zingine. Nataka nikushukuru wewe na Mheshimiwa Raila kuja pamoja kwa handshake. Kuja kwenu pamoja kumeleta amani katika hii nchi.
na hiyo amani itatusaidia sisi kuendelesha maendeleo ya nchi hii kwa niaba ya wananchi wa Kenya wote. Sisi kama familia ya ukatusi tumesoma. Wale ambao wajasoma naomba waende wasome, lakini sisi ambao tumesoma tumeona ukatusi is the first winner in this BBI. Aswa pesa nyingi zitaenda mashinani kutoka 15% to 35%. Tulikuwa tumependekeza iwe 45, lakini tumepata 35. Tumesema hongera. Pia vile unajua, kila mwaka enda rudi tumepata shida ya pesa kwenda mashinani, aswa tukianza mwaka mpya. Wherever we have a new financial year. Mwaka huu mnajua ya kwamba tumepata pesa mashinani mwezi huu, na wale ambao suppliers katika county kuanzia mwezi wa Julai mpaka sasa wajalipo. Ndio unasikia wengi wao wanakuwa auction, ile kampuni zao zinafisika. Hii BBI imekuja na njia mwafaka ambayo itasaidia sisi wananchi pesa kusambazwa katika mashinani, na zile amendments zote ambazo zimewekwa katika Public Finance Management Act. Ile ya muhimu pia na hii Water Fund. Mnajua sisi governors tulikuwa karibu kuwa impeached na hawa MCA kwa sababu ya Water Fund. Na sisi tukasema hakuna sheria maalum. Sasa tuna mapendekezo, tutakuwa na sheria maalum ambayo itawezesha kutekeleza Water Fund. Na hiyo is a win for devolution. Kwa hivyo wale governors wako hapa wote wamesema wataenda mashinani kusambaza BBI, na wao wote wataunga mkono BBI. Mheshimiwa Rais, hawa ndio watakuwa ambassador wako, na sisi tuko pamoja, tutaendelea hivyo. Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Gavana. Kwa sasa Mheshimiwa Samuel Pogishio na Mheshimiwa Amos Kimunya wataongea kwa kifupi kwa niaba ya bunge la kitaifa na bunge la Senate. Mheshimiwa Pogishio.
Your Excellency, President, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Deputy President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Jambo. Your Excellency, I have only a few minutes to speak. On behalf of the Senate, we wish you a happy birthday. We also want to say this, Your Excellency, that the document that is going to be launched today, I, being a student of the Bible, a student of communication and science, I know something about how we read documents. Your Excellency, if you want to marry many women, you can find it in the Bible. It depends on what you want to read. Just there. If you want prosperity, you can find it. If you want sadaka kubwa, you can find it. It's the way we read the documents. Your Excellency, in the area of communication, we have something called selective perception. It means even if you're on a busy street and you're hungry, all you will see are restaurants. You can't even see a bank next door to a restaurant because your mind is set. You are going to eat and you can't see anything else. My advice on this account, Your Excellency, is that we read this document in a way that brings the same meaning for all of us. Let's read this document with an open mind. I've also had the privilege, Your Excellency, of experiencing all the violences of elections that we've had. But the one that really hurt me was the 2007, 2008, when I was minister. And having been the Minister for Information, Your Excellency, the information I used to get and the pictures I used to see, not many Kenyans saw. And I just want to say, for God's sake, let us never go back to that scenario. Never. And Your Excellency, I'm also privileged to have come from a community that understands something about war and warfare. I want just to say that war drums start beating early before the actual war. And Your Excellency the President, the handshake was never in vain. Let the handshake never be in vain. It's a place where we started. I have seen, Your Excellency, war drums beginning to beat. I hear from afar. I have a sense of that. I want to ask politicians that let the BBI be the place of healing. If you want to ask for votes, please, for goodness sake, use another method. Don't use a method. Don't use a method that divides us into us versus them. It is my plea, Your Excellency, for all the leaders seated there with you. Please, let's find a method that does not create the poor and the rich. And it's on that account, Your Excellency, that I just say, I pray. Because there are no poor that belongs to any of us. There are no rich that belong to any of us. If you split the poor, they will fight. If you split the rich, they will fight. And so we just want us to begin a new phase of our political life. And this document, we support it. I ask those who have issues, will get around to look at it properly. But may God help Kenya. Never again shall we have conflicts associated with elections. God bless Kenya. God bless you.
Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellencies, the Deputy President, and the former Prime Minister, let me also recognize in a special way the presence today of our speakers of Parliament. Distinguished leaders and Kenyans, because the whole of Kenya is here. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been listening to the cries of Kenyans. We've heard the aspirations of Kenyans and the hopes that Kenyans have. And all these have been contained in this document and indeed in a series of other documents. But the ultimate burden of actualizing that dream and that vision is being placed on the shoulders of 349 members of Parliament in the National Assembly and another 67 in the Senate to deliver. So at this point, may I ask the members of the Senate and the members of the National Assembly who are here today to represent all those who could not, to please stand up for recognition by this group of Kenyans. Thank you. The reason I asked them to stand is because we have less than 2 years to the next elections. So at least their term of office is guaranteed for that period to deliver on a whole myriad of legislation, constitutional amendments, in addition to what is already in the pipeline. They need your prayers. They need your support so that we can concentrate in the House instead of in the constituencies if we have to deliver on this dream for the Kenyan people. We've done it before. In 2010, in August of 2010, that's when the Constitution was promulgated. And between August and March of 2012, I believe we had delivered on about all the legislation that was required to actualize the Constitution. So we can do it. But now, time is different. We are meeting limited because of COVID, but we believe we are up to the task. And I want to assure the Kenyan people, on behalf of these members of parliament, that what has been placed on our hands, we are equal to the task. And in unity, because on this matter, we don't have a minority side or a majority side. We are united for the people of Kenya. So we want to extend that assurance and to say, with your support as Kenyans, we will not use the youth to fight for us. You saw us dancing on the Jerusalem Challenge. United people from all different political parties, factions, affiliations, but we're united to show that when there's a common cause, we can put our political differences aside. And on this matter of actualizing the Kenyan dream, to get the vision of the new Kenya, of shared prosperity with plenty within our borders, I've discussed this with my colleague, the leader of minority, discussed this with our whips, and we've agreed that we're going to marshal everyone together so that we can achieve this dream together. And may God help us on that journey. God bless Kenya. God bless you all.
Asanteni sana mheshimiwa. Tutawaalika sasa wafuatao na niombe kwa heshima sana tena. Vile niliomba, we kindly stick to the 3 minutes. Tutawaalika sasa mheshimiwa Wafula wa Munyinyi, mheshimiwa Isaac Ruto, mheshimiwa anaye represent Gideon Moi, Governor Alfred Mutua, mheshimiwa Moses Wetangula, mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi na mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka. Mheshimiwa wa Munyinyi.
Mheshimiwa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais Dr. William Ruto, Mheshimiwa Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. Leo ni siku kubwa. And for me, first of all, BBI answers the questions regarding the dispute in Fort Kenya. Because BBI is proposing that we must stick to those mechanisms for resolution of disputes. They must be internal, and if you're not satisfied with internal mechanisms, you move to the registrar and the tribunal. In our case, the matter is at the High Court, for no good reasons. Your Excellency, allow me to say, today we restart a journey to accomplish what our forefathers, their dreams by independence heroes. Your Excellency, this country is at crossroads. Those dreams we talk about, the dreams of a united Kenya, the dreams of a peaceful Kenya, the dreams of a secure and stable Kenya. We need to come together in this conversation and deal with these issues so that we all can attain this dream. Your Excellency, Kenya is staring at another ill-tempered electoral process, which would come about with the usual election violence. BBI is providing the answer to end the violence, the political violence in our country. We must pass BBI. We will all recall the committee of experts under the late Zamba Kitonga, and may he rest in peace, had recommended a hybrid system. But when we went to Naivasha, those members of the Parliamentary Select Committee changed from a hybrid system to a presidency without explaining to Kenyans. We need to get back there. There are recommendations here that address that, and BBI is going to deal with all those issues. I am being asked to finalize, but I must restate my happiness with the BBI report and call upon all Kenyans and my colleagues to support the report so that we can reform our country. I thank you.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mabibi na mabwana, all protocols observed. I was given the instructions to be that brief. Now, I am very elated because for once we are standing here today, we are meeting here today to actualize and strengthen devolution. This is one of the greatest moments for the people who have lived in utter deprivation. We can now take the economy to our villages. We can take and grow the Kenyan economy to the farthest corner of this republic. I want to urge all of us to support this process. I have read through this document. It has been about more than 4 days. It's enough to read that document. You don't need a whole month to read this document. I have tried to look for the mischief in any of the amendments, and I have found none. I have gone through the pages. Amendments to the Constitution read side by side with the already existing Constitution. And there is no amendment that has been proposed that will negate the gains Kenyans gotten over the several years that we've done. They are only gains. We've seen Mama Pendo. This constitution tells us today, never again shall we be fighting. And I want to laud the two principals who have introduced the concept of handshake. I want us to say it should now be a culture for all those vying office that after the elections they must have a handshake with their opponents. It is the lack of that that has led Kenyans to shed blood. And every time we fight after the elections, after 3 months we are able to discuss peace. And even when we embrace peace after the elections, those we have killed will never understand that there is now peace, that they need to wake up. They are very dead. They are away from us. We should never take that route again. Let us take devolution strongly, and let us have an all-inclusive management process for our political affairs in this country. I want to laud the Haji team and say, Pongezi, God bless you. That is a lot of wisdom. I will be on the campaign trail to ensure that this document is passed the soonest possible. And for the constitutional amendments, there is no more debate. Let us just go and pass it. Give us the bill. For the legislative agenda, let us look at it. You can debate it as much as you want. But for these amendments, all is done. We are not going to rewrite that. Thank you, and God bless you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, I'm here to convey the message from KANU on behalf of our chairman, Mheshimiwa Gideon Moi, who could not be here with us, but is here with us in spirit. This is the position of KANU with regards to BBI. On behalf of our national chairman, party leader, the Honorable Gideon Moi, the National Executive Committee, and the entire membership of KANU, I take this opportunity to most sincerely thank His Excellency the President, Uhuru Kenyatta, and his handshake partner, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, for their steadfast statesmanship and brotherhood that has enabled us to gather here today for the official launch of the report of the Steering Committee on the implementation of the Building Bridges to a United Kenya. 42 years ago, then newly elected President, His Excellency Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, coined the Nyayo philosophy with the aim of ensuring that our young nation would henceforth be one indivisible nation. Government action for the remainder of his term and under successive administration was and remains centered around the unifying Nyayo philosophy of peace, love, and unity. We are proud for so much achieved in that direction. However, we are brave enough to admit that our country has not been as united as was contemplated by our founding father, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Daniel Arap Moi Mzee, His Excellency Mwai Kibaki, our current President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Indeed, we have fallen short in a number of ways, but we are convinced that unity should no longer be a persuasive call, but a mandatory call. In this regard, it is our conviction that the call for peace, love, and unity should be entrenched in law. And that is why we are here today firmly supportive of the initiative by President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga to transform the call for peace, love, and unity into law. The KANU rank and file proudly associates itself with other constitutional legislative proposals in the BBI draft report, including the aim to uplift the socio-economic lives of our youth, entrenchment of our national ethos, equality, equity, and inclusiveness, strengthening of our devolution, expansion of the structure of government to allow for inclusivity, bringing the gender disparity, among others. We refuse to entertain the shallow argument by those opposed to the reforms that these changes can only be achieved through mere policy and administrative decision. Hence, we fully associate with the President's position that this is a package that should be anchored in the supreme law of the land. KANU national and county leaders are under firm instructions to endorse the BBI document without haste for the good of the current and the future generations. Having read the reports so far, we in KANU have no doubt that BBI agenda is calling upon us Kenyans to embrace ideals that will guarantee for ourselves, the future generation, a united, peaceful, inclusive, equitable, prosperous country devoid of ethnic antagonism and divisive politics. And that is what KANU stands for as a national party. In that regard, I want to reiterate that His Excellency the President said in his recent Mashujaa Day, and I quote, "We are today faced with a constitutional moment, and that moment requires us to seize the opportunity to make right some of the things that we have gotten wrong in the past." Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, fellow Kenyans, this is the moment. Let us seize the opportunity to have a decent and sober conversation around what this document has to offer. Let us be on the right side of history by discussing the document that has been presented to us so that we can make informed choices when called upon to do so. Let us be ambassadors of the truth and knowledge by telling the rest of Kenyans the truth about this document. Thank you. God bless Kenya. Happy birthday, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President, Excellency, the Deputy President, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, all protocols observed. I have 4 points, and I'll do them in a very chap-chap manner. Number one, congratulations to the team that put this together. The BBI document, we've read it. I like the proposals that are there. We love the fact that devolution will be enhanced. We've done miracle work as governors across the country. Now with more money, we'll be able to help our people develop. The tax relief to young people to enable them to pick up so that they can create employment across our country. The World Development Fund. I'm very happy about the industrialization section and growing the economy, manufacturing, because we want to grow factories in every village in this country, because it's all about money at the end of the day. It's all about money. So as Maendeleo Chap, we're very happy and we support this process of the BBI. Number two, I'd like to tell Kenyans that amendments of the constitutions are okay. There's a lot of propaganda going around. It's acceptable. Even the most powerful democracies, such as the United States, you hear of them talking about the First Amendment, the right to freedom of expression. Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Fifth Amendment, the right not to self-incriminate. They are called amendments because they were not part of the original Constitution. Constitution making is a process. So it is about getting us together to be able to fix and improve on what we have for the sake of our people. Number three, lazima pia tusome funzo la historia. Mimi nilikuwa msemaji wa serikali mwaka 2005 wakati kulikuwa na ule mvutano wa chungwa na ndizi. Na hapo ndio mambo yalianza kwenda mrama katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. There was a lot of polarization in our country. The winner takes it all process started at that time. Na nchi ilichemka, na mkisoma ile ripoti ya Justice Waki, mtaona ya kwamba ile vurugu tumeipata mwaka 2008 ilianzia 2005. Kwa hivyo mimi naomba hivi kwa nyenyekevu ya kwamba sisi wote kama viongozi katika nchi yetu ndio tusichomane tena kule 2022. Tuangalie hii document, kama kuna vipengele vichache ambavyo vitaki, tuunganishe sisi wote, tusimame pamoja, tuweze kuwa na document ambao viongozi wote wanakubaliana nayo. Kwa sababu tukienda hivi mvutano, watu wameanza kukataa, wengine wanakubali, tutaenda pale pale na mabazu yako sawa, si watoto wetu ndio wanaumia kule chini. Kwa hivyo tuangalie nchi ambayo inashikana. Na mwisho kabisa, nataka kuwagotea vijana na Wakenya wenzangu popote ulipo. Nataka kuwapatia rada kiasi. Mnajua sisi tumechoka nchi ya mabezanga wachache wenye pesa nyingi na mamilioni ambao wamesota. Tunataka nchi ambayo watu wako na usawa. Nataka kushow birthday boy Unye na Rao ya kwamba na mabazu wengine wako hapo wote, ya kwamba sisi, especially the young people in this country, tunataka Kenya ambayo tunaendelea kuchochwa saa zote. Haswa tunataka Kenya kofea, ndio kijana akiamka asubuhi anadondoka anajua atapata wera ama atapata do, si kulala njaa kila wakati. Lakini msitupange na mastingo ya kabila, kutupanga ati huyu ndio leader wa kabila hili, leader wa kabila hili, leader wa kabila hili. Mnatupanga na mastingo ya kabila. Mkifanya hivyo sisi tutakataa. Mkipanga tutapangua, mkifunga tutafungua, kwa sababu sisi tutaka mambo fresh ndio tusonge mbele. Asante. God bless na God bless Kenya.
Your Excellency, President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President, Prime Minister, fellow Kenyans. Today is a day like no other. We assembled here as a leadership of the country to put a final touch to a document of hope, a document of peace, a document of prosperity for our country. We have come a long way as a country. We have gone through challenges, and as a resilient country, we don't give up because we have challenges. We rise like a phoenix out of the ashes to take a new trajectory for our country. The BBI report before us, Your Excellency, is tremendous work in progress, is a good report and must be supported. For anybody who may wish to have an issue with it, I encourage you, don't say reject, say improve. Because there is room for improvement on each and everything that we have in life. I'm particularly happy, Your Excellency, that for the first time we have put our commitment to the integration of the region in our constitution. Kenya stands to gain tremendously by continuing to be the major player in the economy of the East African region and beyond. Equally important, Your Excellency, is the centrality of devolution in this document. Today, as we speak, Your Excellency, Nigeria has emerged as the largest economy on the continent because of embracing devolution and taking more money to devolve the units and to the villages. By taking 35% of our revenue to the villages, to the counties, we are going to witness a revolution in the economy of this country like never before. And this is going to change the narrative, the psyche, and above all, the manner in which Kenyans engage with each other. When there is plenty in our midst, room for conflicts diminish. When there is less in our midst, everybody struggles for the little that there is. I want to encourage Kenyans, read the document, understand the document, and like we were told from Kisii, nothing is cast in stone. A good idea will always give way to a better idea. And I have no doubt, Your Excellency, that this is your signature legacy to this country. I want to finish by saluting our retired President Mwai Kibaki. he, after the 2007-2008 conflicts, navigated and midwifed the birth of the 2010 Constitution. And that's why we're here to look at that Constitution and make it even better. You said, Your Excellency, in Kisii, that in 1963, we had a Constitution that was a ceasefire document. In 2010, we had a Constitution that was a stopgap document. Now we are going to have the ultimate document, the Constitution that will lead this country for generations to come. And fellow Kenyans, don't let anybody read for you. Read yourself, understand, and if you have any new idea, we want our country to move together as one big happy family called Kenya. God bless us all.
Your Excellency, the President Uhuru Kenyatta, the Deputy President William Ruto, Honorable Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, fellow Kenyans, I will be brief, and I want to say that the issues that the BBI sought to resolve are real issues, issues that seriously affect us, and if we do nothing about them, will continue to affect us. I have read the document, and I also had an opportunity to consult with the ANC party leadership, critical organs of the party. We had a robust debate, and we came to the general conclusion that the document has very good provisions. Provisions that need to be enhanced, provisions that need to be enacted carefully and as soon as possible so that we can engage on nation building. Your Excellency, there are some areas, and I want to highlight just one or two, because my understanding is that the launch is giving us an opportunity to reflect on these issues and then to enrich them so that the same task force that was handling it can take into account issues that may not have been captured appropriately. Indeed, a number of speakers have indicated there may be a few areas that require refining. Your Excellency, I think the strength of the Senate needs to be relooked at again. When it comes to matters devolution, after reading it, I think the articles that have been touched tend to remove or to downgrade the role of Senate when it comes to allocation of resources to the counties. Senate is the anchor to devolution. I think that requires a review, not a rejection of the document, but a review. Your Excellency, the judiciary is independent. There's a very good provision recommending the appointment of the ombudsman to handle the issues of the judiciary. I think that is good. However, I strongly believe that in order to enhance the independence of the judiciary, that appointment should be made by the Chief Justice. Your Excellency, I'm making these points so that they can be looked at. The other point that I would like to make, The other point that I would like to make is the issue of underpinning the economy. Your Excellency, you and I have the unique commonality of having served as ministers of finance. This is an area you understand very well. I strongly recommend that in the document, and as we look at it, because I believe there's a window, we can underpin the need to tame our public debt. Your Excellency, this is important because the good provisions of increasing 15% to 35% will require resources. If the debt consumes too much of our resources, we shall again fail to serve the counties. That is critical. Finally, Your Excellency, I just wish to say that you have a mammoth task, we have a mammoth task. The 2010 Constitution, when it got to the referendum, it had a 67% acceptance across the country. That was the referendum statistics. I want to beseech Kenyans that let us work together. Let us look at this document together so that when we get to the level of the referendum, we should only better that percentage of 67% to higher. That will be so good because it will then be building the consensus we want for the Constitution. Your Excellency, the Constitution is not like the 10 Commandments. We cannot amend the 10 Commandments, but we can amend the Constitution. We can also improve the gray areas around the BBI so that that high percentage comes on board. And it is on this basis that I revisit the Kisii address by His Excellency the President, that we must build consensus. He emphasized that in his speech, so that by the time we are reaching the plebiscite, we shall have developed very broad consensus. Kenya is ours, we must all protect it. This initiative is excellent. It is not work that can be taken lightly. So we support it, we'll work to support it, and we'll work to improve it. God bless all Kenyans, and God bless the souls of all those who have sacrificed or have lost their lives in the quest for a better Kenya. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa Rais, fellow Kenyans, I join others in wishing you a very happy birthday. And I want to take it up from where my friend Bishop Ogide left it. He once got me into a lot of trouble when I attended his inauguration as a Bishop of Sitam. He did refer to Psalms 133, I beg your pardon. It's just three stanzas, 3 verses. And it's actually a song by David. Jehovah, just a minute. This song by David starts by saying, "Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious oil upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that came down upon the skirt of his garments, like the dew of Hermon that cometh down upon the mountains of Zion. For there Jehovah commanded the blessing, even life evermore." I think this is a moment for us Kenyans to reflect on this. And Mr. President, for once,
I think we have a God-given opportunity, even as we prepare to take this country to a referendum, to have a non-contested referendum. Those are precisely the words that I used when I attended the inauguration of Bishop Ogede. When I said that time, let us listen to what the church is saying, so that we can build the consensus. I have read and I have traveled, and the most recent interesting reading I've come across is that of some of us who think that this is another trick. As my brother Chamasha Mashinane said, he did not find any mischief in this document. But there are those who are reading mischief. Unfortunately, let us also bring them on board. For instance, they think that this whole thing is aimed at creating and expanding the structure of the executive to the detriment of everything else. But you have heard here the Kenyans in a celebratory mood, because devolution is the biggest gainer of this whole thing. 35% to the counties. Recently, Your Excellency will recall the very tough discussion in the Senate when senators could not even agree on the formula. Now everything looks straight. And I want to urge here that we get into this norm of believing that every Kenyan is important. Every Kenyan. Those on four-wheel cars and those even on one wheel. Every Kenyan matters. Every Kenyan matters. And therefore nobody should read mischief where there is none. Governors, when you get this money, I plead for the love of this country. Please let us adhere to the provisions of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. I know that there are ward representatives who may not agree with some of the governors, and then they have been denied development assistance. Now, it was Wiper Democratic Movement's position that this 2%, that Ward Development Fund be included as a constitutional amendment. And this we're very proud of as Wiper, because it was listened, we are listened to, we are listed in that document as one of the parties that made this presentation. Because we believe in devolution. Let us deepen it, and of course avoid the stealing. What one ambassador once said, Kenyans, we steal and we vomit on their shoes. We have an opportunity to grow our own economy and not vomit on each other, but grow this economy. Mr. President, I want to be very brief today. And I say that we have read this document. We cannot be in a reading mood all the time. It's not a very big document. We have read it. What happens next, in my view, Mr. President, is that the bills that have already been drafted, and there are several of them drafted, let then the whole concept, which is enshrined in Constitution 2010, take root. Participation, public participation with regard to each of those bills that has been drafted subsequent upon this report. So the report then can have some hands and feet to stand on. And the country then can prepare for the next very important thing. So we have read, let us not kid ourselves. People cannot read forever. Iko kwa mtandao, it has been read, and I think it is a time to move on and support this change, which is important. And while you are doing it, avoid radicalizing this country. You see, there are very many types of terrorism. If you start a class war, what are you doing to your own country in the name of wanting to get elected? This is not good. I've just come, Your Excellency, from a visit to Mount Kenya region, and beautiful Thompson Falls, compared to the famous Bombers of Kenya thing. It's amazing. Beautiful territory, beautiful country. But then we radicalize the youth, so they look at you. A youth looked at me and said, Kalonzo, we welcome you. Karibu sana. At least somebody has brought us a wheelbarrow. What have you brought us? Even I'm saying the wheelbarrows, important to this country. It is important. Therefore, let us embrace this possibility, God-given opportunity to have a non-contested referendum so that there will be no wheelbarrows and there will be no other types of Kenyans. Class war, dangerous. Finally, Mr. President, Alanet Jr., whom I celebrate, put you into a very tricky situation. And even as we think of appealing to my brother Raila to stop the reggae and William to stop the wheelbarrow story, I love this Jerusalem song, that dance. But then, Mugithi may even be better, so that we all follow in a Kenyan song where we come together. Don't fall into the trap, Mr. President, on your birthday that was given by my Leonard Jr., student of law at the University of Nairobi, taking you very seriously on what you said in Kisumu.
Karibu tena guku thoko ya Haolo kuria uingiraga na kibao peke yake. Warikia kuingira thoko ya Haolo wiguragira kindu na bei ya thĩ na ya mwanya, na muthenya wa umuthi twina muguri